Hello, friends. My name is Steve, and we're here somehow through flat tires and misunderstandings, but we are here to discuss the Mirror's Truth. We had planned on reading up to chapter 34, and I goofed and read up to chapter 33, and Dan had a emergency today, so we'll try and dance around chapter 33 as much as we can.
Okay.
So anyway, the intro music is from Michael R. Fletcher, and it's on his YouTube channel, and that'll be linked down below. Thank you, Michael, for allowing us to use your music for the podcast. So, The Mirror's Truth, chapters 23 through 31 and a half, and or 33 or 34. So what did everybody think?
Wigtig's thread. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dan.
No, you go.
I was saying Wigtig's thread was really interesting how that whole thing played out. I really enjoyed reading that. It read pretty quickly, these last 100 pages, and I think, last time I felt like it was flagging a bit and I was getting a little bit bored. I wanted to get to like the main part of the story, or what felt like the main part. I think now it's we still aren't there, and like we still don't know what's going on with the farmhouse, etc. But Wigtig's thread was interesting enough to keep me.
Yeah, I think I felt pretty much the same. It's like this part was way more interesting than the previous part, I thought. And Wigtig's part is the most interesting part of all this, I think.
Yeah.
It's the Stehlen chapters. I'm always like, whatever. Let's read them to get to Wigtig's part, I guess. I don't know. And Morgan's chapter was interesting. But yeah, those are right now the most interesting ones to me, I think.
Yeah. Stehlen's interesting because like I'm not interested in her that much, I don't think. Like I know she's what's the word I'm looking for? She's tortured about something. She wants forgiveness, or she doesn't really want it. She wants to be punished for something she did. There's indications, and maybe we'll find out about it eventually. We don't have a backstory for her, right? So we don't know what it is that she thinks she needs to be punished for. And that part of her character is interesting. But other than that, I'm super interested in what's going on with her relationship with the swordswoman. I will break something if that ends poorly with betrayal or anything. If she dies, that's fine. But if it ends with with the other woman betraying her, I will break something, or maybe rip the book. I don't know. But I'm really curious where that is going. I think the swordswoman, I'm really warming to her character, and I want to see she's different from anyone else we've met in the world. She seems like an actual decent person, which is different for this world, or at least like not anyone we've met so far. And she's also one of the only two sane people we are following. Bedecked sanity is TBD. So I think she's a really interesting case in this book. I'm enjoying reading her as a character, especially from Stehlen's point of view.
I don't know. Stehlen's just like, I don't know what she's doing. That's the thing. I don't understand why she does the things she does. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's almost like killing is a need that she has. Like she needs to steal, and I think that killing is sort of, she considers that stealing, is that life stealing. I'm not sure. I feel like she stopped herself from trying to kill Leipzig, is that her name? The swordswoman once. And I think it was written almost as a need that she was fighting hard to not fulfill. So I mean,
maybe you're right. I mean, killing is somewhat stealing, right? And I think there might be a connection to one of the books you're reading right now and discussing, and some of the other. I think Steve, you're reading it too, but I don't think you guys are there yet. about killing and stealing and stuff like that. There's somewhat of a connection, but maybe we'll.
Which book?
Get there. I'm not going to tell you.
Oh no.
I'm not going to tell you, but yeah, you're gonna figure it out, I think. But yeah, I assume that what happened in the past was something along that line, and it's like, oh, like her sister or something was killed by someone, and that's like she considered that stealing from her, something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Or a lover or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's what caused her epileptic thing, and that's why she has the scarf that she steals from random women. I assume that's what makes me think, but maybe not.
Yeah.
And
but I guess we'll see. Yeah.
to your point about the swordswoman being like a person, I think she said something like, "Is this all there is?" Kind of like almost ready to give up, or almost feeling hopeless about the whole thing after they went to the Oasis, and she kind of stopped and said she needed to rest, and she kind of seemed like, why? Like, what's the point?
Yeah, like, what the fuck are we doing, right? Yeah. I would be like, why am I going around? Like, for what reason am I doing all this, right? It's perfectly understandable.
Did she say that, remind me, did she say that while she was in the Oasis, or after they escaped that?
I think it was after.
After, yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, I like that she lost all her inhibitions and just started asking Stehlen questions about the scarves when she did that. Yeah, that seemed unlike her, and the explanation made a lot of sense, I suppose.
Yeah. I wonder why she's with Stehlen, though, because...
Yeah.
Because, why?
Yeah, it doesn't... Yeah, I'm having difficulty believing that someone like her would have trouble finding someone to like her back. So, I don't know, does she just find Stehlen cute? Or was Victig right that she kind of had no choice, so she decided to make the best of a bad situation?
Yeah, but now she has choice, right?
Yeah. But maybe at the time she decided she liked... But so far, at least for us, we don't have any reason to like Stehlen. There's nothing to like about her so far. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess, is it only like physical attraction? I guess that's the only thing I can understand, because otherwise... Yeah. Like, she hasn't treated her very well, I think.
That's true.
I guess we're missing all that part in the afterdeath. We don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I assume something happened, maybe? I don't know. Why does Stehlen like her? I still don't know the other way. I don't know either way. Why do they like each other? I don't...
Yeah. Stehlen, I mean, I know we joked about this last time, but it seems like she falls in love with everyone who hangs out with her even a little bit. Does she? Maybe I think of all the mad or insane we've met so far, she seems to be the one with the highest degree of self-loathing. With the most intense self-loathing. So does she feel like anyone who gives her the time of day or even acknowledges her is worthy of her affection? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think we're going to understand until we read more.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of, what was it? Another series of book I read about, what was it, the Engineer or something trilogy, something like that.
The KJ Parker one?
And maybe. I don't know, it's something called like an Engineer trilogy. I don't know if you read it?
No, it's been on my list. The one by KJ Parker called Engineer Trilogy is on my list. I don't know if you are referring to the same one though.
KJ Parker?
Yeah.
Maybe? Let me see. I think it is. I think it is. Anyways, for the whole book, I was having trouble because of maybe the way it's written or something. I wasn't understanding if, what the writer wants us to. If I knew what the writer wanted me to think about this character, like, is this character? Am I supposed to read this as the truthful thoughts of this character, or is this supposed to be deceiving me in some way, or is I just couldn't understand. And then, like, for the whole series, I'm like, I don't understand what this guy wants and why he's doing the things he's doing. Because I kept waiting for, like, a twist or something. It's like, oh, that's not really the plan he has. That's not really... But it never really came. I don't know. Because I thought it was all a setup to make me think, oh, everyone thinks this guy's, has this objective. But in the end, he doesn't, or he was thinking like 5 steps ahead, or he had something else in mind, right? And then it turns out he didn't. And I was just very confused because of the writing style, and like it's a bit like Stehlen. I don't understand what I'm supposed to think about what her motives are.
Yeah.
Like, what does the writer want me to think about her?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he has an opinion about her and about what he wants to do and like stuff like that, but I just don't. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it the way I get the other characters, right?
I think they're kind of different degrees of shitty. Like, much, but yeah, I think Bedekt and Witchstick have, because Bedekt has a code. He has his code that he lives by. Witchstick has his motivations of he wants to be the greatest swordsman, and that serves as kind of a distraction for him, something to occupy his mind. But Stehlen, it seems like she's very conflicted, like what, because she goes back and forth of I'm going to kill them, and then like, well, maybe I won't. Like, I'll figure it out when I get there, kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
So you don't know like what she's. So does that make her more or less interesting, I guess, as a reader, or is it frustrating?
Yeah.
Oh.
She says something about planning. The way that section was written, it felt almost like it was a profound revelation about the character. Like when the swordswoman asked her, I don't remember what it was in response to, but she said, if I plan and things don't go the way I meant for them to, does she say something to the effect that it would make me a liar if the plans don't go the way I want? Because she doesn't talk about success or failure. She talks something about not being a liar, if I remember correctly.
Trying to remember. There was something about...
Yeah. And I didn't feel like what she said was very profound, but the way it was written, like with the gaps and like a single line and everything, it felt almost like it was supposed to be a revelation about the character. So, yeah, I don't know, does that give us more information or insight into her character, perhaps?
Does she just not plan anything? She just decides on the spot?
Yeah.
Whatever she does?
In the first book, we saw her have disdain for Bedekt and his plans, and that's a thing that Bedekt keeps reliving too when he thinks about Stehlen, that his plans all go to shite. But
I'll go to shite.
But I think she had an explanation for it in this book, specifically in the last 100 pages. But let me see if I can search for it in the Kindle book.
Yeah, there was something which I also... Was it that passage, the one you're mentioning? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But I guess, I don't know, like everyone pretty much plans ahead. Like even if you don't want to expect any outcome, right? You say, oh, I don't expect anything, so I'm not disappointed. But you still subconsciously do, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't about disappointment though. That's what was interesting. It wasn't one of
Yeah.
the typical reasons that people usually give for not planning. So I don't have to worry about success or failure or disappointment. It wasn't quite phrased in those terms. If I remember correctly, I don't know. I could, for all I know, be imagining.
No, you're
this.
right. There was something. Trying to find if I can find it too. Because I was like, I read a passage, and I was like, oh, I should mention it tomorrow, and I'll definitely remember it, so I don't need to mark it. But now I'm forgetting. I don't know if it was something like, oh, it feels like the writer's talking to us instead of.
Yeah.
There was. I can't find it anymore. Or maybe it was your passage. I don't know. That does remind me of something. Maybe.
Oh yeah. Here. Okay, now I know. I found it. It's on page 181 in the Kindle book. I don't know if it's the same one in the paperback, but it says, wait. Yeah. Don't know. I'll decide that when the time comes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm intentionally not making a decision. Stehlen swallowed and pushed on. She never told anyone any of this, and it felt odd to share such a deep part of who she was. That's why I thought that it was a big revelation about her, because of this line. Victic would have mocked and blah, blah, blah. Decisions are pointless because you never know when you'll need to change your mind, and if you've already decided something, you'll make a liar of yourself. So she doesn't want to be a liar. That seems to be really important to her for some reason.
Well, but then after that she says, oh, so you're not lying. But I said, no, I was lying about lying or something like that, right? Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, I don't know what she wants. It's like, oh, I want to kill him, but he's my friend. But Morgan wants him dead, so I don't want to do that. So, like, it's like, what do you want? I don't know. But, yeah. Maybe it was bad, yeah. I did think that it would have been interesting to, I don't know, maybe show the internal thoughts of Stehlen. If you were saying something like, oh, you want to portray her as, oh, she's not making decisions, she's, like, maybe constantly flip-flopping lies and stuff like that. Maybe it have some like internal stream of consciousness, and she's like, you can, see the description of her thoughts like jumping around and not wanting to think into the future, stuff like that, right? To just show how in the present she is and not making any decisions until the last moment.
Yeah.
I thought that could have been interesting. But anyways.
Yeah. We saw her overrule Bedek's plans because of disdain for them, but it didn't feel like a fundamental principle of philosophy she had about planning. So, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, she seemed more like impatient, right?
Yeah.
But just want to get it done.
Yeah. So Bedek, when we found out. Well, okay, I don't know. Yeah, okay, it's not in the chapters you all have read yet, so I'll get to that next week. I'll have to remember to talk about it. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't think there was much Bedek in these chapters, right?
No, he was mostly just being injured and... Oh, yeah, you read the chapter where her sister came out of the mirror, right?
Yeah, that chapter, yeah.
Yeah, what did you think of that? I feel like it's building up to reveal that Bedek is the most insane of them all. Even more than Morgan. Did anyone else mistake the dream that Victig had? Did anyone else think that it was Bedek he was seeing and not the hurt and scarred version of himself?
Well, I was confused about that because they're both missing fingers now.
Yeah.
So
he's got the exact same scars as Bedek, I think. So is Bedek some future version of Victig? from a different after death or something? Does it work like that?
Huh.
I thought he was subconsciously getting modifying reality to get injured in the same places because of how he felt towards Bedect. Sort of. You know?
Yeah.
But it could be like you said.
Yeah, that seems less likely. I don't think we've seen anything in the world so far that would explain that. It just would have been cool if it did happen. But I think it becomes clear by the time that chapter ended, I think. Or maybe in a couple of chapters. The next time we saw Victic, that he was seeing himself, pretty much. Right? Because he had gotten
I think so
good, so insane and badass with his swordsmanship. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that he's gotten so good now that he can wear a bedsheet and just defeat 6 people while drunk like nobody's business and injured like hell.
Yeah.
Is that telling us that his delusion about being the greatest swordsman is so powerful now that, you know, even an injury as bad as the one he has isn't getting in his way? Because, I mean, there's no way that would work in the real world, of course not, but even in a fantasy world where injuries mean something, right?
Or maybe he was actually really skilled all along, and he was not our guy story. Maybe. It's the same as those movies like, oh, you know, you were skilled, you had the strength inside you all along.
Oh yeah.
It was not. That's the lesson.
This is actually a heartwarming story about finding yourself within.
Yeah. He was actually really bad at convincing people. He was just really good at swordsmanship in the end.
It's really a feel-good story about believing in yourself.
It also means Morgan is a terrible god because he was wrong about Victic being the greatest swordsman because he's convinced the most people.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Could be carrying him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did Morgan say that? I think Morgan just said, "You're the greatest swordman," right? I don't think he said why, right? I don't remember, but maybe you're right.
I seem to remember he said that many people think that you are, so you are. But yeah.
No, that's probably true. But yeah, I don't know. At least now he's more interesting, I guess. But he still wants the same stuff. You know, at least he has a plan. You know, he's trying to. You know, we know what he wants. What he's trying to get, I guess.
There was a scene.
I don't feel like he would. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
I was like, do you guys think he would be able to kill Bedect? Like, let's say he's capable of doing it. Would he have the heart to do it?
Would he have the heart to kill Bedect?
Yeah.
I want to say no. I remember Stehlen deciding that she's going to not kill Bedect, and it seemed that her motivation was to not give Morgan what he wants. Or am I misremembering Victic's motivation as Stehlen's? One of them had that reason.
I think Stehlen was not wanting to kill Witch Chick because that's what Morgan wanted. So,
yeah.
There was a section in the when Bedect talks to the Mirrorist, and talks about when he finds you're finding your friends may well be what kills them. And that something reptilian is following them, and he's still thinking he can outwit her or outthink her.
Okay.
But there's also something that I think might be setting up something later in the series when Stehlen and the swordswoman are talking in chapter 30. I've heard stories of strange people crossing the Gazette mountains are washing up on the shores. People who can't understand our words, who speak something different, who suffer strange delusions unlike anything we've ever seen.
Hmm.
So I think that's maybe setting up something for later with the world being bigger than what we're seeing here, and
Yeah.
what else might be out there. So maybe we'll see that in maybe the end of this book or the next one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Mhm.
Some weird delusions born from, weird, I don't know, like different religions or thoughts or, cultural environments, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Possibilities are endless, right?
Yeah, very, yeah. I don't know.
Oh, that dream that Victig had, it started with the man saying that he killed a god, right? A very old god, was that it? That he's older than the oldest god. Does that... Yeah, I'm very curious about that. Is it Victig... Victig did not kill Morgan even once, right? That was correct. So, is this foreshadowing that Victig will kill Morgan, and this is years later or centuries later, he's still on his quest to be the greatest swordsman in all the worlds? Or is that someone else like Victig? Yeah, that the dream had a lot. I'm curious what the other parts of it meant, the part that wasn't Victig, if it's just there to make it an interesting dream, or if it actually means something for the world.
It must mean something. It wouldn't be there otherwise.
Yeah.
It could also be that if Witchtig had, because it says he killed an old god, it could be that he was in the after death. And time moved slower for him, and he came back later, and time had moved faster, and in the non-after death, he came back maybe.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking too much into that.
Wait, how would that work?
I guess if he went to the after death, they would have called Morgan an old god because Morgan had been in the first level longer, been older, and time would have moved slower for Witchtig, and he'd have been not dead yet.
Yeah, because time moves faster in the real world, right? Okay, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. That could work.
Very sneaky, making them look alike, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they look exactly the same, and they could also be bedecked. So, or is this like some endless cycle of swordsmen or warriors?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But maybe they'll all get destroyed by the dragon. We can all hope.
Yeah. The dragon's coming for them all. That's why it's shaking so much. Nope. Sorry.
Yeah. And then I guess there was the chapters with Morgan.
Yeah.
Which he seems, how do I say? All of these delusionists seem, a lot of them, to fall into very predictable traps, sort of. You know what I mean? I'm like, he really should have seen that coming, sort of. Or it's like, this guy is working against you. Why are you trusting anything he says?
Yeah.
Right? Why are you even talking to him?
Yeah, is he... I'm trying to figure out Morgan's sort of mental age. Are we supposed to think that he's still the 10-year-old who believes easily? And because, well, if that's true, then the other kid is manipulating him, no problem, like an older person, like someone older than 10. So Yeah.
But is he supposed to be older than 10? If his mirror image should be the same age, right? Actually, probably even younger, because I guess he was born after.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Born.
like, that the age assumption also breaks. Like, if we're supposed to think that he's naive and easily believing, his mirror image is the same age and not behaving the same way. So, yeah, I don't know. He believed Koenig, now he's believing Nacht to do whatever he tells him. Yeah.
I guess
maybe being evil makes you smarter, more cunning.
Well, I think Morgan's delusions are kind of holding him back because he's worried about everything being clean, and he's not really making strategic decisions. He's making decisions based on his delusion. So his reflections, kind of like Koenig's reflections, weren't identical. Were like the same as they had different characteristics. So Notch maybe have different delusions of his own. But they did mention that his when you ascend, your delusions ascend with you. So whatever delusions you have become gods too, I guess.
Whatever yeah. They ascended with him.
And there was another mention about Morgan on I don't know if it's on the paperback. It's 233, but it mentions that his. I'm gonna find it. The faith of his followers defined the boundaries of his influence. Outside of Salbathus, few worshipped the Gobrine godling through the temple, and can't pronounce that. But soon change that. There would be more than one way to wage war. So it's almost like he has kind of like the slaver did. He had like a radius. So and it depended on how many people believed in him.
Yeah.
So I think all that's pretty interesting. And he's So,
but then, how did Nacht project himself to Victic? Isn't he also bound by some rules?
He should be.
Also, shouldn't he be way less powerful because normal people don't know about him? So why would he have,
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Or how is he still connected with Morgan? I assume there must still be a connection, right? Because otherwise, why would he care about replacing him? So there must still be some sort of connection. But he seems to be able to do, like, he's not appearing through mirrors, right? He's just appearing in front of Morgan, right?
He can travel through mirrors, right? It's like any other mirrorist delusion. Or at least it seems like they can move across mirrors or show up where there are mirrors. Or can he only reflect Morgan when he's there? No.
Well, I think it kind of changed when he jumped out of, was it a window or a mirror, and he tackled Morgan? It seemed like something may have changed.
Yeah.
Can Morgan travel like that? Like, can he almost like teleport? Because it seems like that's almost what Notch is doing, is almost like teleporting. But does he have the same skills as Morgan does, or does he have different abilities? Because he is a god too. But if it's limited by who believes in you, then are they separate godlings, and do they have their own like radius of power, or does he feed off of Morgan's god belief? I don't know.
It seems so far like Nacht is trying to build his own following, right? Or he's trying to do something to build his following, it seems like. But also about the mirrors, let's say all reflections can move between mirrors, regardless of whether or not the person reflecting them is there. I guess what the city boundary defines for Morgan is the radius of his power, right? He can still move outside of it. He just won't be able to exert his delusions with any power. So is Nacht's ability to move across mirrors a delusion, or is it just how he travels so he can go anywhere he wants?
Yeah, because it seemed like the other Mirrorists they have to. I don't know.
But they said the Mirrorist delusion is also different, right? Some Mirrorists are just like trapped in a room or something. Some can travel between the after death and the real and the world of the living, and so on and so forth. So,
I think that each delusion is slightly different, so there's no rules which you can apply to all of them, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So probably, yeah, this one, I guess, its own thing, I guess.
Possibly, yeah. Maybe this is Nux deluded delusion power. But then it shouldn't last outside of Selbstas.
Or whatever,
Yeah. The city.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know why Morgan I feel like Morgan should have known, or he should have done some test or something,
Yeah.
Don't being tricked like that.
Yeah. He has enough information sources, right? He has a lot of people in his power to command, and he just did a thing that feels pretty dirty very easily. Yeah.
Yeah, if I had like some guy that was myself that was trying to kill me, whatever, and he was giving me advice, I would do something like, just flip a coin and either do the thing he wants or the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Something like that, because he's not arguing in good faith, right? So either don't listen to him, or just. Right, I don't know, because if you do the opposite, then he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But
use more math. Do you need to conquer that city like tomorrow? Like collect some more information, send some spies out, instead of going out and leading an entire army.
Yeah, I guess. But I guess he does want everything to go perfectly.
Well, he did.
But
he did turn the one. I forget his name. The one commander into a spy, right?
Yes. Again, sort of falling for Nut's plan, which I was like, I don't know. That seems kind of suspicious,
Yeah.
To be doing this. It's like, well, why are you doing this?
Yeah, with Koenig, we knew he was manipulating. Morgan, we knew what Koenig wanted him to do, and he did the opposite. He told him to do the opposite. With Nacht, we don't even know what he's up to here.
Yeah. I was trying to think also, like, okay, so we know, I guess, not the lesson, but, Morgan wants everything to be perfect, but things being too perfect, it's negative for people, and also pursuit of perfection makes him, never be good enough, right? Sort of. But okay, so that's the negative thing about that extreme. So the opposite, in theory, should have some negative things about the way. You know what I mean? What's the parallel failures of Nacht? I guess.
Interesting.
Because he's a mirror of Morgan, right? So there should be mirror failures, I guess, or maybe just being evil is just you just win. It doesn't matter what you do. Anything is fine. You don't have any problems, any compulsive behaviors that will crash your plans just by virtual, being what they are. I don't know, because I guess if it's the opposite, then he wants everything to be wrong, sort of everything to be damaged.
Yeah.
So does that mean that he can't run a functional government because he wants everything to be corrupt and damaged? Is that his problem?
Yeah, that seems like a reasonable assumption. But yeah, what does opposite really mean, right? Like, because to your point about compulsions and obsessions, would his need to not have anything perfect or keep everything imperfect be a compulsion, or would he be an opposite in that he doesn't have compulsions, you know?
Because it seems like Koenig's doppels, they had different characteristics, and they kind of took pieces of him or things that he lacked, or his self-doubt, or like abandonment, and there was I forget what the doppels were, but they were like his own. They seemed like they were filling gaps in his own personality. So maybe that's what Notch is.
Maybe. Yeah, because I guess we don't see him being troubled by all the perfect stuff, right? Because if that was the case, he would have been like, oh, I can't have this being perfect. It makes me really, it makes me feel weird.
There's dirt missing on this part of my face. Let me go rub some mud in.
It's too clean. Everything is too clean. That could be interesting, though, if he developed something like that. It's like, oh, I'm too clean. I need to be more dirty. Right? Well, I guess we'll see.
And he's so Noct is also trying to get Witchtig to prevent Stehlen from killing Bedekt. So you have to wonder what that motivation is. I mean, how would that benefit him if they survive? You would think he'd want them. Well, Morgan wants them dead, I guess.
Yeah.
But
maybe he doesn't want someone else to take control of Morgan because he's still tied to him. And if someone kills him, then he can, by the law of, translation. No, you know what I mean. If that person kill that person, if I kill that person, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Maybe he just wants to prevent that.
We don't know yet what Bedekt's plan is to quote unquote stop Morgan is, right? So maybe his plan is something that will benefit Noct in some way in his own godhood and his ascension.
could be.
Yeah.
If you really want to turn your brain into a pretzel, if Noct kills someone in the after death, does he go to Morgan, or does he serve? Does whoever Noct kills become his, or does he become Morgan's follower?
Interesting. There is supposed to be just one original, right? Yeah, that's a great question. If what the doppelgangers do or reflections do, if they kill someone, do they then become yours or the originals? If you become the originals, do you inherit the deeds of the...
I hesitated bringing it up.
You said, I like how you said if you want to turn your brain into a pretzel, like it wasn't already there. Now it's just really pretzels chained together.
Yeah. I feel maybe, I wonder if this, this sort of setting would be better framed with because we're approaching this from we're trying to explain the magical system, right? And that's the framework which a lot of fantasy books adopt now, in which fantasy is a science with rules, sort of. You know what I mean? It's like a force of nature, and there's rules, and you follow these rules, and you can predict what happens and other things, right? But I was wondering, maybe it would be easier to follow or something if it was just more framed like folk magic or something, in which there's no fucking rules. It's just a free-for-all, sort of. You know what I mean? So you don't have to think about all these things, and it's more about... I don't know. I wonder.
Yeah. Well, I guess the question is for both of you. Would you find this less interesting if it was just like whatever happens, like there's no rules? Or would that bother you that there's not a designed set of rules, at least to have these kind of like questions of what happens if so-and-so kills so-and-so? And I think do we as like people who read fantasy, do we crave that kind of thing, just to have like a world that has a certain box, like fits into a box and there's rules, and or would it drive us crazy if there was just like anything goes?
More more than rules, I think I care about consistency. Like if X leads to Y in some situation, then that must work again. Like you can't pick and choose what works and what doesn't based on the situation. Yeah, rules, like I think if we start getting into rules, we get into discussions about hard and soft magic systems and what we prefer and what not.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think more than anything else, I don't like the use of the term magic system. It's really just a world with different physics, if you will. So yeah, if the world behaves consistently, whether the magic is explained to us or not, even within the world, if it's just some mysterious source that has some power, that's fine. But like, yeah, don't do one thing one time and another thing the other time. I think that's what I care about the most.
I see. That's a good point, I guess. Yeah. But I don't know if maybe I don't need that. I don't know. I feel like if you wanted to make it more horror, then you would explain less and have less of, making people think about how it works, sort of, I guess. And keep it more mysterious, because not knowing makes you more scary, I guess.
Yeah.
But it makes it less, I don't know, how would you say? Like less that you can try to predict or something.
Yeah.
More unpredictable, maybe. Yeah.
It's a great point about not having that framework. Because would this become more of a horror story if we didn't have that framework and we didn't get it like things explained? Because the first book explained, like the first half of it explained a lot of how things work in the after death, and we learned a lot about the world and the way that things work. So if we didn't have that, I think it would be more of like a horror type of book than a fantasy.
Yeah.
I guess it depends what you're looking for. Yeah. And to be honest, there's not, I don't know, I remember a while ago I was trying to find some horror fantasy books and I couldn't find much. Which is weird.
Yeah.
There's a lot of contemporary horror fantasy books, but not, like, let's say ancient fantasy books, or like not based on our world fantasy horror books. Right?
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Gunmetal Gods might be horror.
Which one?
Gunmetal Gods by Zamil Akhtar. I forgot his name. It's one of my favorites, actually. If you're ever down to read that, Dan, I will read it with you. I'll reread
Gunmetal. Okay.
The last book just got released a couple months ago.
Is
Yeah.
it
Maybe.
Is it completed
like-
then with?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
It's like
I've gotta read it.
Lovecraftian type.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. The only ones I could find were it's a collection of stories about ghouls and grave robbers, stuff like that, in the fantasy universe, and it described more like a fairy book.
Oh, that picture. Interesting. I thought there was some weirdly shaped canon, but now that you said it's Lovecraftian, that looks a lot like that octopus thing that all the Lovecraft people seem to like to write about. Cthulhu, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Cthulhu?
Yeah, it is.
It does seem, the description seems interesting.
I was actually
Cosmic horror, science fiction, fantasy.
going to reread it after this. So
nice.
after we finish this series. So if you want to, let me know.
Maybe.
Let me know if you decide.
Maybe. Could be interesting.
Yeah, it's very, very dark. It's very violent. It will scratch your grimdark itch for sure. I know a lot of people have read it, and a lot of people have said that it's too much for them. They couldn't finish it. So
50,000 gun-toting paladins march behind him, all baptized in angel blood, thirsty to burn then believers. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I've been meaning to read that book,
setting.
but I don't know if I want to do too.
It sounds a bit, I don't know how close it sounds a bit like, I don't know if you've seen the Trench Crusade artwork or something, which is sort of like, what's that, the book? Book 3. That's the latest one, right?
yeah, well, he sent it to me, but I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
Okay.
But
Because it just says book 3. Does it not have its own name? Are they all
It
just
is,
called gunmetal gods?
Elder Epoch.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that looks pretty interesting. I might give it a
Yeah.
look. I don't know. I am into cosmic horror and that sort of horror.
I think I didn't know if I had a taste for it, but Burrito Street Station is making me think I might. So I might check that book out. So.
Okay. Well, maybe at some point you should also read the Southern Reach
The Southern
trilogy.
Oh, I have heard the name.
You know the movie Annihilation.
Oh, I haven't seen the movie, but I know this is Jeff Vandermeer, right?
Yeah, and it's a trilogy, and the Annihilation is inspired from the first book.
Okay. And the first book is called.
And that's another one. It's very cosmic horror. I guess very much. Yeah, you can also connect a bit to this because there's a lot about how your own mental thing can affect the world around you, and it's like, oh, is what I'm seeing real or not? And stuff like it's even more mind bending than this.
Oh, interesting.
It's so
okay. I got it.
It's very confusing, and I feel like if you're gonna start, if any of you are ever gonna do a discussion. Read along discussion about this, it's going to be something like, read 3 chapters, discuss. There's so much things to discuss every time.
That sounds fantastic. I've got to read it. It's been on my list because it was on the new weird, and I'm really liking China Mieville, what I'm reading now. So.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
It's really, really weird. But yeah, I read the Southern Reach trilogy in an airport from when I had like one day with waiting for the next layover, and it was super bored. And when you read a whole series just uninterrupted, and it becomes like some sort of fever dream, and you're like tired, but you're like, I'm just gonna finish it. I'm just, in limbo in the airport, just waiting. You're half asleep half the time or something. Yeah, so it does enhance maybe the feeling of confusion.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, me too. I got it. Okay, that's cool. Two trilogies.
Yes. Well, let's see. Maybe this book series will also go into some cosmic stuff in the next book.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cover suggests it.
I'm still waiting for the other gods to show up, and I expect them to show up at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
I would. Yeah. Especially after the mention with the bedecked, maybe Victig, maybe some other lookalike swords person from other worlds.
Yeah. Maybe we're gonna get some eldritch gods or something. Some twisted and unbelievably weird gods or something, because they've been doing their own god thing for so long.
Yeah.
And I guess we did get part of it, right? Because we did have like epigraphs or something talking about, there was this one god, and then it got fragmented in all these different godlings, right?
Yeah. That happened, yes.
It's funny that you mentioned about, we were talking about Witchtig and Bedecked looking similar, and on chapter 23, the top little about time being a delusion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Chapter 23, you said?
Yeah, top of chapter 23.
Mm-hmm.
Time is a delusion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was misquoting Einstein. We think
Maybe
it's
Yeah. Maybe each fundamental physical law of the universe is a delusion of one of the, like an elder god or something.
Oh, I like that. I really like that.
And that's why it works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, maybe we'll
Sorry,
see.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, going back to the discussion about rules versus no rules, I think in this world, the only rule seems to be that belief brings about existence. Like, we are twisting ourselves into knots, wondering what will happen if this, if that.
Mm-hmm.
But really, what seems to be what will dictate is if enough sane people think something and like bring about a concentration of belief, or if one very powerful, deluded, insane person thinks something. So for your question, Steve, it could be as simple as if Morgan thinks that he will inherit Nux killed people and he's a very powerful, insane person, he will inherit, it seems like. And I think there was even an epigraph about the rules about sanity and stuff, that there are some base rules. But I forget which chapter had it, but it was interesting. But what I like about this book and the world is that it's very self-aware about its rules or lack thereof. I think the epigraphs with all the philosophers contemplating the nature of the world is a really nice touch that's sort of making it clear that people in the world don't understand it any more than we do. It's kind of like, if it turned out that dark matter was a delusion or something like that, and then like people are just like writing philosophies about how it works. So so it's really filling the consistency thing, I guess. There's no need for logic, it seems like, and because someone needs to believe it to make things happen. The only question I have is like, the Mirrorists are sort of the exception, right? The reflections seem to have some limits. The people who are dreaming them up, they don't seem to have control. So whose belief is dictating what they can see?
I don't know. Maybe it's just the common belief by people that mirrorists are able to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. But yeah, I guess there probably would be, in a world like that, there would be a lot of like things like potions and other like homemade remedies and other things which would actually work, I guess, right? A lot of folkloristic stuff, right? Or stuff like, if you go at night at this time of the day, or like at this time of the night and under this tree, then you will get cursed, or something like that. I would assume all that stuff would work.
Yeah.
Right? Because if it's believed by a lot of people and common knowledge.
Yeah.
Or if you go under a ladder, you're unlucky.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be pretty fun to see, like some of these like more normal things driven by the belief of normal people, I guess.
Yeah.
Folklore belief,
Yeah, that's the thing. That's, I guess, one sort of thing that would really round the book out for me, or the series out for me a lot more, is if we got more sane people perspectives who are actually just doing sane things. We have, as far as I remember, just 2 sane people we are following, right? Bedect, maybe, and the source woman, but we're not getting her perspective. We're just seeing her through the eyes of Stehlen. But what does the world look like where it's not being dictated by the insane, right? That feel we are getting glimpses of it through the philosophers, but I feel like it could use a little more rounding out, because they are being impacted by this war and the godship and whatnot.
Yeah, I guess it would be nice. Yeah, something like maybe, when we had the first chapter about the slaver or something like that, you describe a random guy walking down the path thinking about whatever he's saying, right? Yeah. And then he sees the slaver, and we actually see it through the writing, like described from his perspective, and the slaver is described very nicely, like he's super friendly, he gives him food or something, and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
To see exactly their perspective, right?
Exactly.
Of how normal people would feel.
Yeah. Because we only saw Gehin's perspective on that, and she's already insane. And we saw how she got captivated by the slaver, but what does a normal person look like, right? Yeah.
And we knew that, she knows what a slaver is. So, but before doing all that, just put a normal person doing that. So we're like, what's going on here, right?
Yeah.
And then we're like, it was a slaver. or maybe you just put a normal perspective of someone watching, like someone just go into a puff of smoke, and it's like the terror and fear that you must feel like from something like that happening, right?
Yeah.
Or one of the undead persons just walking around the town or something like that. It must be quite something.
Yeah.
I think
That would be great to see, though, that kind of neutral, normal person perspective that's not involved or not have any kind of status. Just a normal, like someone just...
Have you read I know there's like other books in the series, like standalone, right? Books?
I think there's another book that is a standalone, Swarm and Steel, I think.
Something like that. But maybe is that from someone normal, or is never? I don't know. I just saw it when I was browsing through on Goodreads.
Yeah, it was a standalone, I think. Swarm of Steel, I think. That's...
Swarm, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that maybe is.
Have you read it, Steve?
Or maybe not. I don't know.
I have not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay. For political and religious leaders. Anyway, there was one other thing that I forgot. Never mind. Oh, yeah. Since we haven't seen the slaver yet in this book, I'm beginning to wonder if the purpose of his existence in the previous book was to expand this story now, what we are beginning to see with Morgan trying to enslave some of his followers. Is that, were we perhaps given, well, okay, it drove the plot quite a bit, because whatever happened with Morgan's ascension happened because of the slaver, but also were we given that perspective so we can now understand Morgan's did I lose you guys, or did we just lose Dan?
No.
Okay.
I think we might have lost Dan.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if we are now getting a sense of how dirty just being a slaver would be, like just how much Morgan is descending now because of that. Yeah, I don't know.
I think Dan's trying to reconnect. It looks like I think we lost him.
Oh, nice. You can see that. That's...
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks like he's trying to reconnect. I'm sure he'll be back in a second. But yeah, now that he's gone, we can talk about chapter
Oh no, is it working?
Maybe.
We'll let him walk into some spoilers.
Yeah. Are you still there, Dan?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, lost him again.
Lost him again.
Yeah, we'll give him a minute or two. But yeah, I think the dragon is super interesting, because that's on chapter 33. It kind of starts to set up, and the army that is marching did avoid. It sounds like the farmhouse.
Yeah, there's something interesting about the farmhouse, which the dragon destroyed them after we were told about the farmhouse, right? Yeah, so there's something going on at the farmhouse that's weird. I feel like we're supposed to be really interested and terrified of the dragon at this point. Hey, Dan.
It works now. Okay.
I feel like we're supposed to be terrified of the dragon, but I'm not feeling it. I'm not there yet. And I don't feel like we have enough room to develop the level of horror to be terrified of what's going to happen.
Let's see. I was thinking something about what you were saying before about the slaver and now Morgan sort of becoming slaver. I was thinking that maybe it's not that bad, given that the commands he gives to his general are like, shower twice a day, eat 3 times. It's like, okay, that seems pretty good,
Yeah. But
maybe I wouldn't mind that.
He's taken away his willpower, no? We have, I think, I don't know if we only saw Gehen's perspective when she was enslaved by the other guy, and it felt pretty bad to not have control over what you were thinking.
Yeah, but maybe like in that case we were like, oh, this guy's making me do bad things, which I don't really, So that might give you a internal dissonance and might make it seem like, oh, maybe this is not what I want. But if you give suggestions or you give orders about things which are good and they might want or ready to do, they wouldn't figure it out because they're sort of like, oh, I made these decisions myself, sort of.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like that a lot of the time, like, oh, we're supposed to feel sort of, oh, he's doing such a bad thing. And I'm like, is it that bad compared to everything else? I don't know. I'm kind of on his side,
Yeah.
A bit.
Well, what's funny, you mentioned eat 3 meals a day, and he thought back to the slaver and not having the one person be able to use the bathroom, I guess you can say. Nice way of saying it. He thought back to that and it was like, okay, well, you are going to eat 3 meals a day. Like, take that. Like,
and go to the latrines, like, just be clean and try to be clean and no. It's not that bad.
He's the kinder, gentler slaver.
Gentler slaver.
I mean, if there have to be a slaver, it might as well be Morgan,
Yeah, he's probably going to be, I don't know about kind, but the most clean, wanting slave.
So maybe the solution is just let Morgan conquer everything, and then maybe give him some therapy to overcome his, obsession with. That seems like the best solution, to be honest.
I like that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these. Yeah, why isn't therapy like a really important science or profession in this world? I feel like a lot of these delusion people would benefit from it, or it would help keep them in check. You just have someone next to you that gives you therapy to keep you in check.
Psychiatry hasn't been invented yet. Yet someone needs to believe in it to make. But yeah, that's really interesting. How would it work in this world? So would you just stop believing that you're deluded, and so now you are a sane person again? The third book is just going to be Morgan's conversations with his psychiatrist. That's what.
Yeah. I mean, because I guess he is aware of his delusions, so he might, he probably would be able to do something like that, sort of like, now everything is fine, let me just work through my issues.
Yeah. So the cover is just, what is it? It's a dream. What's on the cover is a dream. And the book is just therapy session. I like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Or actually even like a hypnotist would be super powerful. Oh, just hypnotize a delusion, a deluded guy, and he's going to do whatever you want.
Is that what a slaver is?
Pretty much, right?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
It's more brute force.
So the slaver couldn't charm Morgan, right? Because if he wouldn't have been able to enslave Morgan after he ascended. It had to be before, right?
I think even before he was too powerful, right? He tried, but he was too powerful, I think.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah. Anyways.
So, anything else you guys can think of and wrap your minds into a pretzel over?
Oh, I think that's it.
I think I'm good, yeah.
Cool. So next week, I guess we'll finish off the book.
Yep.
Sure, yeah.
Cool.
Do you know how big the next book is, Steve?
I'm not sure. I do have the arc, but I'm not sure. Let me see if I can... Let's see. It doesn't say. I can try and pull up the arc though.
Okay.
Have you read anything else by Jeff Vandermeer, Dan?
No, because I read that and then I was like confused. And I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be confused or not. And then I didn't. I don't know what else he wrote, to be honest. But it's interesting. It's an interesting series.
Yeah. Is this the one? I feel like I saw a really nice picture with a woman who had mushrooms for ears and some weird type of hair coming out. It was one of Vandermeer's trilogies, but I
Feel like it's not that one, but maybe I misremember.
I
Feel it's something else.
It was really pretty, that, and
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like a lot of the things that, even if I say that I was confused or didn't like it, I have very specific tastes, so it's yeah.
the what? Oh, I think I figured out which book you meant about the life stealing. I know. I think I know who it might connect to.
Okay. Well, you'll
We'll
see.
see. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's a lot of books which I've read. Like I've read the first book, and I was like, "This is good," and then the second one, I'm like, "I cannot do this." I don't know. It's just something weird. Like for example, Bar Cormorant. I really like the first book, and the second one just lost me immediately, and I don't know why exactly. Not sure exactly why.
Is it that it bothers you when it doesn't go a certain direction that you want it to, or?
I feel like a lot of time the first book is innovative and there's like, oh, it's new, you know, narrative structure here or whatever, something original. And then the second one, I see it start going back into the tracks of what has been done before. And I'm like, I feel like I know where this is going, sort of. And it's like, sort of like, I don't know if you've ever read Empress. What was it?
No.
What was it? Karen Miller. Empress of Mijak.
Right, I've heard about this.
The first book is amazing. It's so good. I love the first book. The second and third book, I hate so much. It's like, I don't. The potential. The first one had huge potential. I was super into it. So original. So different. The perspective, the characters, the universe, everything. And the second one is just the most boring, trite thing which I've read 1,000 times.
Interesting.
And it's just so sad. So sad to me.
I haven't. Yeah, I feel like I've heard someone else say that too, or maybe you mentioned it once before, but yeah, that seems to be the common perception of this trilogy. And I also think I know what you're talking about. I don't DNF, and I typically also tend to finish series that I've started. But there's one YA series that I had to stop. The first one had this really interesting magic, and it was an interesting character setting. The character's mom had died. She was dealing with grief. I thought it did a lot of things really well. And then the second thing became a standard, young person leads a revolution thing. And I'm like, I don't... I decided I'm not going to read first-person present tense YA books anymore, because as a jaded 30-something person, I cannot stand behind you when you go on about how you got this and you can lead the world into revolution and whatnot. I'm like, nope. Wait till you meet your first boss you don't like, and then come back and talk to me.
Yeah, fair enough. There was another. I don't know if do you remember a series of books in which like the villain is the protagonist? Like she's a young girl, and there's this evil empire which is conquering her country, and then she becomes the villain, and it uses all like the stereotypical villain sort of things, and Hero, the good guys and bad guys, but now the bad guys are winning. I tried to remember what it was.
Was it Nevernight? Is that the one you're thinking of?
Don't think so.
Is she an assassin?
No. She becomes like the apprentice of the villain. But then in the second book, like the more it goes ahead, it's like, oh, I guess these guys are not really the villains. They're kind of the heroes, I guess. And the good guys are like unreasonable and and I was like, okay, I guess. But it's not really what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I pulled up the third book, but I have the the raw, the unedited or the it doesn't have a table of contents. So
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm not
We'll
sure
figure
how
it
big
out
it is.
when we get
You'll
to
have
it.
to figure it out.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But cool. So next week we'll finish it off and go from there.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That's good.
Cool. So until then, Varsha, will you give us an outro?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Reading by the Rainy Mountain. The About page has other ways to reach me. You can also find my podcast. It's called Bright Threads in the Tapestry. It's available on Apple, Google, and Amazon, their podcasting platforms.
Nice. Everybody go check that out. And Dan.
Yeah, you can
Quickest
find me
outro
on
ever.
page touring, and I don't know. That's good enough, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we will talk about the rest of the Mirror's Truth. I'm really anxious to hear what both of you think about the end of this one.
Interesting.
And we will we'll figure it out next week.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh,
Well, go ahead.
next week I'm traveling, so we'll need to reschedule, but we'll talk about that on the forum. I guess we can meet on Tuesday if that works for you guys.
Yeah, I might also be away next Monday, so.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a holiday still. Yeah. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, so anyone listening, we'll talk about the book sometime next week. We'll let everyone know. I'll add it to the show notes when this one goes live. So everyone will know. Cool. We'll talk to everyone then.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.